Good day, everyone. So, welcome to our personal development class. And we are now in week 6. And week 6 will focus on lesson 11, which is brain, parts, and processes and functions. And lesson 12, which is ways to improve brain functions. Okay? But before we proceed to our new lessons, let's have a little review of what we discussed last week, which is week 5. So for week 5, we were able to discuss the different causes and effects of stress in one's life. And at the same time, we were able to discuss different ways in coping with stress. Okay. So for our objectives, after going through this lesson, you are expected to discuss that understanding the different parts of the brain processes and functions may help in improving thoughts, behavior, and feelings. And explore ways on how to improve brain functions for personal development. So let's begin. Yan. So let's have muna our activity. So for this activity, so you are seeing different words of colors. But for my instruction, so I'll be calling a student, no, for you to be able to tell us the color in each word. So you're not going to read the word itself. You are going to tell me the color itself. Like for the first line, no, I am going to tell you blue, green, black, and red, and so on and so forth. So you're not going to read the word. You are going to tell me the colors. Okay? So are you ready? So who would like to try? Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for trying your best in telling us the color. Okay, so let's have our processing questions muna. So after doing the activity, what have you realized? Anong na-realize niyo nung kayo ang nakasalang? Tapos nagkaroon kayo ng difficulty ba? Nahirapan ba kayong sabihin yung color, no? O kaya ang nasasabi nyo ay yung nababasa nyo yung pinaka-color at hindi nyo nasasabi yung color. Okay? So what did you realize? Okay, thank you. And another question, what is the best way for you to improve your brain functions? How are you going to help your brain, no, for you to be able to improve it, no, its function? Anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much. Yan, so let's have our discussion. So let's understand the brain parts, its processes, and its functions. We all know that brain is one of the most complex organs in the human body. Lahat tayo may brain. Sino dito kiniklaim walang brain? Okay, so lahat tayo, no, nandito yan sa upper part ng ating katawan. And it is part of the central nervous system, including the spinal cord, o yung nasa bandang likod natin yung ating spinal cord. And our brain has three major regions, no? The forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. So I just hope, no, the different parts of the brain are just a review, no? Kasi napakatagal na natin pinag-aaralan niya, no? Since elementary pa lang, no, you are already studying the different parts, no, and processes of the brain. Okay, so let's proceed. And for the forebrain, no, it is located in the uppermost region of the brain, no, wherein, no, ano yung mga parts na under ng forebrain? The cerebrum, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and the limbic system. Okay. So, let's define muna cerebrum. Ano bang part ito ng forebrain? So, we say cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain covered by the cerebral cortex. And what is the function of the cerebrum? It regulates senses, memory, emotions, intellectual activities, and body movement. Okay, what about naman cerebral cortex? Ayan. So for cerebral cortex naman, no, it is responsible for processing information that is divided into two hemispheres, no? So the right cerebral hemisphere and the left cerebral hemisphere. Ayan. Okay. Wherein, si right cerebral naman controls the left. Ayan. So, pag ganyan yan ang control. And the left cerebral hemisphere naman controls the right side of the body. So, ganyan yan, no? Yan. Opposite ang kinokontrol nila. Okay. So, moving on. Yan. And each cerebral hemisphere contains 4 lobes, no, that shares complex relationships together to function. So what are the 4 lobes? No, we have the frontal, parietal, temporal, and the occipital lobe. Okay, isa-isahin natin. So for the frontal lobe, dito po yan, no, is situated at the front part of the brain, which controls, ano yung function niya? Yan, frontal lobe is responsible for the memory, emotion, stress response, your speech, decision making, and planning. So kung napansin niyo yung pinag-usapan natin yung decision making, no, sa mga unang lessons natin, sabi nga, no, yung inyong frontal lobe ay hindi pa ganun ka-develop, no, when you are in the teenage years. Ayan. Next, the parietal lobe. Okay, situated where? Near at the back of the frontal lobe. Ayan, sa bandang likod daw. So, ito yung parietal. Yan. Which regulates the sensory perception. Okay. What about temporal lobe? Saan niya natatagpuan? Okay. Located at the side of the head, which regulates memory, hearing, and comprehension. Ayan. And for the last lobe naman, situated at the back of the head. Ayan. And what is the function of this lobe? No? It regulates the sight. Kaya 'di ba, laging sinasabi, always protect your brain, no? Kasi kapag nabangga kayo at nagkaroon kayo ng head injury, kung saan napatama yung part ng brain nyo, pwedeng doon magkaroon ng ano, no, problem. Like for example, yung likod mo, the occipital lobe, no, ito, tong part na to ang napahampas, no, because of the accident. Pwedeng maapektuhan yung ano, mata mo. Yan, no, regulate sight, 'di ba? Kung paano ka ano, no, makakita, baka magkaroon ng problem. So always protect, no, every part of your head kasi pwede nga magkaroon ng damage. So pansinin niyo ha, kung ito yung napatama, pwedeng ano naman ang maging ano problem diyan. Yung speech mo, 'di ba, no? Yan, or the memory, mawalan ka ng memory. Pag dito naman sa temporal, anong po pwedeng maapektuhan? Hearing, 'di ba? Okay, sige. So let's proceed to the next. Ayan. So what about naman limbic system? Ayan. So meron tayo sa limbic system, no? Andyan yung cerebral cortex and hypothalamus. Okay, so isa-isahin din natin. So what is thalamus naman? Yan. So ito yung part ng thalamus, no? It is connected to the cerebral cortex, ayan, that sends, receives, and organize information. So napaka-importante ng function ng thalamus, no? Okay. What about hypothalamus? Ayan, it is located below the thalamus. Okay, ito yon, no? And above the brainstem, so ito yung pa-brainstem yan, dito, no? That regulates digestive process. So in charge yan sa ating digestive system and is also responsible for growth and development. Ayan. And sinabi ko nga kanina, for limbic system, no, under niya nga ang hypothalamus and the cerebral cortex. Okay, no? Wherein it regulates various types of emotions that affect blood temperature and blood pressure facilitated by the hypothalamus. Kaya 'di ba sabi ko sa inyo, no, yung emotion, no, the responsible part of the brain is the hypothalamus, no, which is under siya ng limbic system. Kaya when you say, no, I love you with all my heart, hindi po pwedeng ganon. Kung ang emotion nanggagaling sa hypothalamus, dapat I love you with all my hypothalamus. Okay, so moving on. Ayan. So let's have naman the brain stem. Ayan. So yung brain stem, yung bandang dito sa may likuran yan, papuntang spinal cord. Ayan. So, tapos na tayo sa forebrain. So tingnan naman natin yung midbrain and hindbrain, no? For midbrain, ayan. So dito yan, malapit nga, ayan, no, sa brain stem. Okay? So it's located between the forebrain and the hindbrain. So pagitan ng dalawa. And It is responsible for motor movements, particularly the visual and auditory processing. Okay, so importante din si midbrain. And for the hindbrain naman, situated at the back of the head. Okay, so bandang likod na siya, no? Which includes the cerebellum that receives information from the sensory system and the spinal cord to regulate what? Balance, postures, and coordinate movement. Kaya mahirap na ito rin yung ma-damage kasi po pwedeng ma-paralyze ka, hindi ka makalagalaw kasi coordinate movement, no? And even the balance and the posture. Okay, no? And what composes no brainstem? Okay, no? It's the midbrain, no? And the hindbrain. Tandaan niyo yan, no? Ang laman ng ating brainstem is the midbrain and the hindbrain. Okay, so moving on. Yan. So for brainstem naman, it's located at the lower part of the brain, which is ito na nga yung sinabi ko kanina, which leads to spinal cord. It connects the cerebrum and the cerebellum to the spinal cord. And it composes nerve fibers. Ayan, yung mga ugat-ugat, no? That carries signals to and from all parts of the body. Ayan, mga nerve fibers natin. Sila yung nagkikerry, nagdadala ng signal, no? Papunta sa lahat ng parts ng ating katawan. And its functions are for safety and survival at as it regulates breathing. Naku, napaka-importante, no? Breathing, consciousness, no? Heart rate, body temperature, blood pressure, digestion, and wake and sleep cycle. Ayan, napaka-importante, no? Kaya pwedeng hindi rin po pwede ma-damage yung bandang part ng ating brainstem. Okay? Next. Ayan. Sige. If you listen, no, to the different parts and functions and even processes of the parts of the brain. Ayan, sige nga, let me check your comprehension. So, I have here 6 parts lang, no, ng ating brain. So, yun lang yung pinili ko. So, I'll be telling you the function and I want you to, yan, identify which part, no, of the brain am I describing, no? Kung ano yung dinidescribe ko. Okay, so let's begin, no, with the first, yan, function. So, tell me, anong part ng brain ang responsible for thinking, memory, behavior, and movement? Okay, what's your answer? Okay, so let's check. What's the answer? It's the frontal lobe. Okay, let's proceed to the next, no? It is responsible for hearing, learning, and feeling. So what is the part of brain that I am talking about? Go. Okay, so let's check the answer. The temporal lobe. Okay, next. It is responsible for breathing, heart rate, and temperature. So ano pong part ng brain ito? Okay, let's check if your answer is correct. It's the brain stem. Okay, let's proceed to the fourth one. It is responsible for the language and touch. So anong part ng brain ito? Okay, so let's check your answer. It's the parietal lobe. Okay, second to the last. Yan. It is responsible for the sight. Ayan, nabanggit ko kanina to. So what is your answer? Okay, so let's check your answer. It's the occipital lobe. And last part that I'm going to ask you, it is responsible for the balance and coordination. So which part of the brain is this? Okay. So let's check your answer. It's the cerebellum. Okay. So thank you so much for your participation. So moving on. Ayan. So to sum up the first topic, remember that cerebrum and cortex have something to do with your ability to think. Yan. Another, limbic system naman has something to do with your feelings, specifically the hypothalamus. No? Next, brainstem has something to do with your behaving safely to survive. So pansinin nyo, nire-relate na natin yung behavioral, no? Ano ang koneksyon ng brain sa behavior nyo. So, eto na po yung sinasabi ko. Okay? Next. Ayan. So sabi dito, brain makes you think, feel, and behave. Yan. Kaya palagi natin sinasabi na we can always control what we think, what we feel, and behave as well kasi you have your brain. Di ba? And its complex interrelationship enables you to think critically, creatively, and carefully in various situations. And those experiences you gain develop certain reactions now toward yourself and with others, which determine who you are as a person, having the right and acceptable thought process, feeling, and perception. Okay, so moving on. Ayan. So another no trivia. Our brain is responsible for remembering and recalling the past kasi nga yung memory natin nasa brain din natin. But it is our responsibility to keep your brain healthy and functioning well. Ayan, isa yan sa mga minsan nakakalimutan natin, no? Masyado nating ginagasgas yung brain natin, masyado nating dinadamage at pinahihirapan yung brain, no? We do not think of something na makapagpapaano naman dito, no? Maintain ng functioning, okay? So the brain is responsible for our way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. So yan, nabanggit ko na yan kanina. And it is important to observe and exercise ways to improve your brain functions as maturing adolescent. So yun ang pinaka-importante sa lahat, no? It's not just na you are going to just remember the different parts and its function. So kailangan malaman din natin yung ways, no, kung paano natin mapapangalagaan ang ating coconut nut, which is the brain. Okay? Ayan. So for my question, sige nga, so those who are really into, no, ayan, taking good care of their brain. So how can you improve your brain function for personal development? So what are the ways that you are already doing, no, for you to improve your brain function? Okay, anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much sa mga sagot nyo. So with that, let's summarize kung ano-ano pa yung mga ibang ways. Ayan, so we have here different ways no, to improve your brain function no, for personal development. Then yung iba kasi dito na-discuss ko naman during our stress management. So no need to explain it further. So number 1, exercise. Napaka-importante. So hindi lang yung ibang parts ng katawan, lahat ng parts ng katawan, even the brain, no, nagbe-benefit when you exercise. Okay? It improves what? Your memory and even protects your brain from degeneration. Okay? Another, meditate. Ayan. So take 10 to 15 minutes of meditation, 'di ba? That could what extend your cognitive longevity. Okay, nabulol ako doon, okay? Longevity. Okay. Next, sleep. Ayan. Enough sleep is required to consolidate memory learning. Kaya wag niyong parusahan yung braining nyo. Kailangan no nagko-consume din kayo ng required number of sleep, no, which is 8 hours. Next, food intake. Talaga naman importante, 'di ba, no? And ano yung mga food na kailangan no for making our brain healthy? Ayan, ano yung mga rich in omega-3, yung mga antioxidants, no? Amino acids and even vitamin E. Ayan. And of course, no, syempre vegetables, 'di ba? Limit calorie daw and saturated fat intake. You can drink what? Green tea. Ako, I'm doing that, no? Wine, pero in moderation lang, no? Or grape juice, no? In moderation. Okay? And of course, you need sunlight, 'di ba? The vitamin D, 'di ba, no? Importante 'yan, kasama daw ng exercise yung vitamin D na 'yan, no? No? And with that, no, it allows your system to perform better and can even slow down the aging of your brain. Ayan, kaya paaraw din tayo no, sa tamang oras, wag naman dun sa masyado masanting yung araw. Okay? Next. Good relationship, no, we need that, no, to make our brain, no, function well. Why? Kasi it's the ultimate brain booster daw. Ayan. So make time for friends, no, build a strong support system around you. Importante the what? For the what? Healthy mental and psychological, no, aspect naman natin. Next, do not smoke. Ayan. Why? Kasi smoking can cause brain disorder called dementia. Yan. So those people who smoke more than 2 packs of cigarettes a day, no, had twice the rate of dementia when they were older. Okay. Next, be creative. Gamitin ng coconut nut. Diba, no? When something is broken, find creative, no? Repair solutions using common objects. No? Pag ganun kasi nag-iisip tayo, nagiging creative tayo, nagpa-function well ng maayos ang utak natin. Okay? Tandaan nyo, pag hindi nyo ginamit yung utak nyo, para lang yung bakal na kakalawangin. Di ba? Okay. Another. Ayan. So, listening to classical music. Kasi no, listening to calm music can improve to brain functions. Kaya di ba napapansin niyo yung mga baby pag natutulog, no, nung yung mga mommies nila, pinatutugtugan sila ng classical music kasi as early as baby pa lang sila, no, gusto ng mga mommies na ma-develop kaagad yung brain functioning. So ngayon, sabi nga continuous naman ang no, ang development ng brain natin. So pwede pa, 'di ba? Pwede pa siyang ma-improve through listening with classical music. Next, drink coffee. Although sa age nyo, I think yung iba hindi pa ganun nagtatry uminom ng coffee. Pero yung mga adult, no, nakatulad ko, we are drinking coffee. Why? Kasi, pero in moderation na, kasi it increases brain performance and speed, no, and will even boost your intelligence, no, including your reaction time and reasoning. Nagpapa-alerto yan, di ba, ang coffee. Okay? Next. Ayan. Assessment. So, paano natin gagawin yung assessment? So, begin by assessing just how strong your mental focus, no, is at the present moment before you start working. O, di ba? Bago ka magsimula, teka muna. Okay ba yung ko, pag-iisip ko? Okay ba yung alertness ko? So, that's part of the assessment. Okay? Another, eliminate distractions. Importante yan, no? Request to to be left alone and set aside a specific time and place, no? Seek out, no, a calm or quiet place, no? Where you can work undisturbed. Mahirap din kasi mag-isip, mahirap din magtrabaho kapag maingay, maraming distractions, di ba? So better ang concentration kung talagang ikaw ay nakafocus lang sa isang lugar, no, na tahimik, no, at saka very conducive for learning. Okay. Next, limit focus. Yan. So part of improving your mental focus is all about making the most of the resources you have available. Stop multitasking. Sino nagmo-multitask dito? Instead, give your full attention to one thing at a time. Okay, one thing at a time. Tandaan niyo 'yan. Actually, no, when we are attending the first research conference no held in PICC, no, that's way back 2018, no, meron dong isang research na pinresent, no, wherein talagang pinresent niya yung the negative effects of multitasking to our brain. Talaga naman daw nakakasira siya ng functioning. Okay? Kasi nga naman ang hirap mag-focus sa napakaraming bagay. So one at a time lang po. Okay? Huwag niyong pwersahin yung inyong katawan at isipan with multitasking. Okay? And of course, no, live in the moment. Ayan. So it's hard to stay mentally focused no, when you are ruminating about the past. Ayan, yung mga hindi maka-move on. No? Lagi na lang merong hold back sa past. No? Or even worrying about the future. Or tuned out of the present moment for some other reason. So it may take some time to work on learning to really live in the moment. So seize the moment, 'di ba? Let's enjoy what we have no at present. Wag na tayong mag-look back pa sa past, yung mga dapat na kalimutan na, mag-let go na tayo, 'di ba no? O wag masyadong mag-worry about the future. So focus lang tayo kung anong meron tayo sa ngayon. Okay? So with that, ano pa? Practice mindfulness. So when we say practice mindfulness naman, no, it can involve learning how to meditate. So katulad na nabanggit ko kanina sa meditation, di ba? So, pwede niyong gawin yan. At tinuruan ko kayo niyan, yung box breathing kung naaalala nyo. Okay? Next, take a short break. Ayan. Sino dito yung talagang pinipressure ng sarili? Dire-diretso yung kanyang ginagawa na minsan nakakapagod na, ayaw pa rin tumigil, di ba? So, it can damage the brain. So, take a short break. Sabi daw, shift your attention to something unrelated to the task at hand, no? Even it's only for a few moments. So, pag napapagod na, kung may mga halamanan kayo dun sa labas ng bahay, silip ka lang. So, 'di ba, tulungan mo yung sarili mo na ma-refresh, 'di ba? So, nakaka-refresh kasi 'yon, 'di ba? So, pag napapagod, take small break. Wala pong masama doon. Okay? And of course, build your mental focus. So it requires plenty of time and practice to strengthen concentration skills. Importante kasi yung concentration kasi mahirap mag-accomplish ng isang bagay without the concentration itself. Okay? And brainstorm. Bakit kailangan nakikipag-brainstorm tayo? 'Di ba minsan no, before the pandemic no, malimit si teacher, ang pa-activity niya ay brainstorming no, with group of students. Gugrupo kayo tapos nagbe-brainstorm kayo. Why? Kasi a mind map no is an easy way to brainstorm thoughts organically without worrying about order and structure. So it allows you to visually represent the structure your ideas to help with analysis and recall. Ayan. So nakakatulong yung brainstorming, no? Na mapalabas mo yung mga ideas mo regarding the topic. Okay, next. Ayan. So we're done. So but before we discuss the different objectives, so what are your takeaways and how these takeaways could really help you improve your self development? Okay? So anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much. So with that, let's discuss the different activities that you are going to accomplish during your asynchronous time. Okay, so for activity number 1, so we have your visualizing oneself. Okay, so what's the direction? So I want you to visualize yourself in these distressing situations. And how are you going to think, feel, and behave at your worst and at your best? Okay. So, meron tayong mga distressing situations dito. So, tas may mga tatanungin dito na what will be your initial reaction. So, medyo baka malito lang kayo. So, meron tayo dito 3 column. So, ito yung deadline, dead spot, and dead end. Okay. Pag sinabi natin deadline, for example natin ay deadline is next week. Ayan. So, malinaw sa inyo, may deadline. Ibig sabihin may target date kayo. Pag sinabi namang dead spot, di ba ito yung isang part na wherein hindi klaro. Di ba, no? For example, ang dead spot sa'yo ay si activity number 1, hindi mo maintindihan. That is something dead spot, no? Part of your learner's activity sheet. And for the dead end naman, ito yung wala ka ng gagalawan, no? For example, natapos na lahat ang first quarter, wala ka ni isang sinubmit, 'di ba, no? Tapos nagpetiks ka pa second quarter, no? Yung last natin, term na ng first sem, hindi ka na nagpakita. That will serve as your dead end kasi paano ka pa makakahabol, 'di ba? Okay, so with those situations, so I want you to identify or answer the following questions. Ito, what will be your initial reaction? Ano yung magiging initial reaction mo dun sa binanggit kong deadline, binanggit kong dead spot, or dead end? So you can choose any other situations, hindi lang naman yung situation na binanggit ko. Okay, another question that you need to answer. How does it affect your thoughts, feelings, and behavior? O dun sa situation ng deadline. How does it affect your thoughts, feelings, and behavior? Situation ng dead spot. Paano naapektuhan? Situation ng dead end. Paano ka naapektuhan? Okay? Next question. If you're going to think first before you act, how are you going to react? Okay. How are you going to react daw dun sa situation ng deadline, ng dead spot, and dead end? And for the last question naman, how does it improve your thoughts, feelings, and behavior, sa sitwasyon ng deadline, dead spot, and dead end. Okay? So, thumbs up po kung naintindihan ang ating gagawin for activity number 1. Okay, so moving on. For activity number 2 naman, yan, sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung brainstorming, no? We are using yung brain mapping or yung mind mapping na tinatawag. So, I want you to what? Accomplish this one. So, yung my plan to improve brain functions for my personal development. So, pag meron kayong gumawa kayo ng mind mapping, meron kayong main idea. Ito yung ways to improve brain functions. Tapos, ano yung first 4 ideas regarding that. Tapos yung lahat ng idea na yon pwede nyo yung lagyan pa ng mga sub-idea, no? For you to really, no, illustrate, no, yung plan mo in improving your brain functions. Okay? So moving on. For activity number 3 naman, so you are going to answer the 5-item quiz. And for activity number 4 naman, you are tasked to write your reflection. So for this week, no, you are just tasked to accomplish 4 activities. Okay? So with that, so thank you so much. So I just hope you are going to really accomplish your last for this week. Okay? So I see you guys next week. Bye-bye.